on to, I'm just going to call this episode 3 of Alexander and Friends. And this is going to be a anime episode where me and DJ go through a anime that we have never seen before. Obviously, we're fans, if you can't tell by my background. Not so much yours, but
nice pretty brown wall.
I got some Dragon Ball Z and some My Hero and a bunch of Inuyasha and Attack on Titan stuff that you can't see in my background, but it's there.
Inuyasha. Nostalgia.
Yeah, if I tilt my camera just a little this way, there's like a little shrine. Hold on.
As there should be.
Let me see if I can't do it. Boop.
Yes. As there should be. There should be a shrine. Everyone should have one.
It's pretty dope. All right. So, the anime that we're going to be doing, I guess, until we finish it, which is actually kind of cool. I think there's only 25 episodes in this show. And then there's like a spin-off show I don't know too much about, but it's Blue Exorcist something saga. So I'm sure that is like just the predecessor of this show. But as far as this show goes, from what I could see on Hulu, I think there's only 25 episodes or around there. So we're going to do episode 1
25.
through 3. 25?
Yeah. 25, because it shows 50, but that's between the dubbed and subbed.
And the subs. Yeah.
Which one did you watch? Dubbed or subbed?
I'm not going to lie. I don't have the patience to do subbed.
Same.
I've never had the patience. Now, like even with like Attack on Titan with season 4 that's been coming out here recently, I did try. I tried real hard. I think I got to like episode 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that area, doing dubs or subs. I mean, and like, and I just wanted to because I'm so impatient at the same time. So I just wanted to like know before it got ruined, like what was going to happen. And I had to tap out. Like anytime I see anything Attack on Titan, I completely just close my eyes and keep scrolling or just ignore it. Because like, I don't want anything to be ruined for me because I can't, I don't know. I just can't do it. No matter how much I love that show, I still couldn't even do it for that. So much less.
I haven't watched a single episode of it.
Attack on Titan?
I never watched. Yeah, never seen it.
Bro.
I know it's heartbreaking. Everyone I say that to has that same exact reaction. Only word they say is bro.
I'm not disappointed because it took me this long to get into it. I only started watching it this past year. So like I went through seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then now I'm on 4, but I think it's still coming out or about to end or something. It's the last season.
I think it's about to end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a short run. Like they're still doing it to some degree, and I know that COVID's really fucked things up for them.
Yeah,
like in the beginning of every episode, it kind of references something about COVID and the pandemic and stuff, and that's why it's taken so long to come out sometimes for the English. Because there's like episodes 1 through something where it's English finally. So, but it's being very slow going to get it out from what I understand. But no, I'm not disappointed in you for not have seen it yet. But I just want you to brace yourself for whenever you do sink your teeth into it, because it's going to fuck you up. Because it's not this like super over the top characters, and it's like dramatic as fuck. Like they really didn't do the whole tropey anime Japanese thing where like big googly eyes and then there's a pervert old man character. Like none of that. It's straight up that's beautiful good. Looking. Like the biggest thing I can associate it with is like a Gundam series. With Gundam, there's not really too much. I honestly, I can't think of too much fuckery or humor in most Gundam series that I've seen. So it's as close to that, but I would dare say it's like sevenfold more serious. But it's like good writing. It's dramatic as shit. Like some of the episodes, it will leave you just going, Jesus Christ.
I like animes like that.
Like to the point where if I was watching this coming out on an episodic weekly basis, I'm not sure if I could have done it. Like wait another week to figure out if so and so died, or like, holy shit, did they just drop a bomb on us? Or, you know.
Right.
I don't want to ruin anything for you unless someone already has. But thankfully
No.
I didn't know too many people that watch anime, much less Attack on Titan. I'd seen a lot of it whenever it got real popular after like the first or second season.
I'm friends with so many weebs. Like, it's bad. And they're all like, you need to watch Attack on Titan. You need to watch this. You need to watch that. It's like, guys, one anime at a time.
That's my problem. I'll start a bunch of different ones and never finish them.
Never finish them.
That's my biggest issue.
Like, I fell off anime because everyone was like, oh, you need to watch this. You need to watch that. You need to watch this. You need to watch that. I'm just like, you know what? I'm taking a break from anime. And watching Demon Slayer, which was amazing, was the first time I watched anime in 2 or 3 years. And the last anime I watched before that was Tokyo
That's the
Ghoul.
one where the girl's got the thing in her mouth, right?
Yeah,
Demon Slayer one.
Demon.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I watched a few episodes of that. I don't know if I just didn't give it a chance or something, but I was like,
it's so good. It gets better.
I'm sure it gets better because most animes do, but I think I was partly annoyed that everyone was talking about it, and then partly annoyed because certain things didn't make sense. And it's like there were just more questions every episode in my head, like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Why is this that way? Like, it was just like plot holes, I guess, in my head. And I was like, not interested. And then that was at the same time I was watching Tokyo Ghoul. So like I was right in the middle of season 1, and I'm now in the middle of season 2 somewhere. I need to get back into that, but whenever I moved, it kind of threw me off. So good. It is so different. I got to the point, I think I already told you this, but I got to the point where he sees those 2 ghouls with they each have the one demon eye, one regular eye, and he's like, what he's just like, what the fuck is that? And like, I'm at that point. So that's probably episode 1 or 2 of season 2. But like, I just remember going, the pace of this season has dramatically changed. And I like it.
Yes. Season 3 is just, I haven't watched it
yet. It's a great show. I need to not forget about it and continue watching it. There's just so much anime to get to.
I've heard some good things about Tokyo Ghoul Re, and I've heard a lot of bad things about it too.
What the fuck is that?
Tokyo Ghoul Re. That's the
is it a spin-off?
Season 3. It's a season 3 kind of. It takes place after season 2, but a lot of people said that it's a different change of pace. Like, it's Tokyo Ghoul's here. Tokyo Ghoul is like far right field or left field. Like, it's different in every way, shape, and form, from what I heard. And it makes me nervous to watch it because I love Tokyo Ghoul, and carrying all the negative, I'm like,
or don't fix it if it's not broke, you know?
Right.
I like the change that they did in season 2 so far, because it made sense, because season 1 was like very condensed to like their little sector, whatever they call it. So it's like, season 2 so far is like giving me a peek of just how safe their district was compared to other ones, because they just said, you know, other sectors are like far more dangerous, more ghoul activity. And in your head, it's kind of like, oh, I equate it to like crime rate's bad in Michigan. Don't go to to Detroit or Chicago or something like that. But then it shows you like how crazy it is, and just like a little glimpse, and it's like, oh, it's like a war zone out there, like a straight up war zone. Like there's no weird quiet coffee shops or anything. It's just straight up warfare over there between the humans and the ghouls.
Like after watching Tokyo Ghoul, I was like, I'm gonna open up a coffee shop and name it Anteku. And I was like, nah, I might get sued for that.
Yeah, Big Japan comes over to America and just goes, no.
There's all they say, no, and just walks out. It's like, oh, okay.
Or they send oh man, what's the mafia over there? The Yakuza or something like that. You just have a ninja wake you up in the middle of the night. They just bop you on the nose. No.
The fuck? No. Oh, you're a ninja. Okay, Anteku's closed.
They just whisper in your ear, go to sleep. But no. Okay. All right. So I don't know if I even mentioned this at the beginning. The series that we're going to be watching is Blue Exorcist. And I've got to say, it's fucking good. Like just like
fucking fantastic.
Just the mild rundown. The opening scene from the first episode, you're seeing an exorcism happen, and like you don't really know much about anything, but it's you see a bunch of priests exorcising a demon back to hell or something. Yeah. And then it opens up to the main character, Ren. Let me see if I can even pronounce his last name. I'm terrible with anime names, but Ren Okumura. That's probably wrong. We're just gonna go with Ren.
Sounds good to me.
I do have his father's name down packed, but it opens up with Ren, which is going to be our main character for the duration of the series. I'm assuming, anyways. But it introduces Ren. Ren is in a fight with 3 other neighborhood kids, but it quickly establishes Ren as the fuck up. So,
yeah. Yep.
In pretty classic anime form, like your main character is the underdog or the screw up of some sort. So that's Ren.
Yep.
And then, quickly establishes him as the fuck up. And then enters, after the fight, he enters this church in which he lives there, right? At the monastery.
Yeah, that's where he lives.
Okay.
With him and his brother.
Enters the church and intro to Father Fujimoto. I love his name, Fujimoto. It's fucking kick-ass. But he enters the monastery and he kind of goes to, what is it called? Where they go and confess, like a confessional type booth situation. So it doesn't exactly introduce Father Fujimoto as like a important character at first, and then he's kind of talking to Father Fujimoto, and he's kind of lying pretty much. He's like, how'd you get those bumps and bruises? And he's like, I fell or some shit. But it quickly establishes Fujimoto as a pervert from the get-go. Yes. He said something about females or girls or something like that, and he's like, where? And then he realizes he was just joking with him, and then he hits him with some shit. I'm like, okay, there's our Master Roshi.
He puts him in a headlock. He put him in a headlock after he called Ren called him a creep.
Yeah. And then we have the introduction to Yukio, which is going to be another main character, which is going to be the twin to Ren. Yukio is he's established as the non-fuck up main character.
He's the
he's going to be
he's the good one.
Yeah, he's the good one. He's got his stuff together. Where Ren is like a total bum, has no ambition, and then Yukio has been studying to go to this like high whatever college. Like I think the assumption is that it's just like a Christian college of some sorts. Like there's no
something like that.
there's pretty much not
I
like
would
any kind of
compare it to
foreshadowing that
like
it's like an
university.
exorcism. Yeah, kind of like that. Just like a uppity, top of the line Christian college type thing. I don't think they use the word Christian, but it's heavily implied with a bunch of their like the names of the demons and stuff like that. Let's see, where was I?
Like that
at?
college, I would compare it to like the university, where it's like
Yeah,
good kids and
I'm trying to find the name of the school. I've got it written down there somewhere. Oh, True Cross Academy is the name of the school.
yeah.
So, I mean, they talk about crosses, which is typically Christian themed religion stuff.
Yeah, and
Poltergeist.
that school is big as fuck.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think that's in episode 2 or 3 whenever they finally show it. Because like in my head, I'm just assuming that it's just like I don't know, not exactly like a My Hero type of school setting, but like just kind of like a normal college, like an English, like UK styled, type of college or something like that. But it's definitely anything but looking like a normal college of any sorts. Let's see. Oh, okay. So like right after we meet Yukio, Ren gets mad for some reason. Someone's like busting his balls or something. The other priests in there are like, why can't you be more like Yukio and have your shit together? So Ren gets mad,
busting his balls.
Yeah, busting his balls, and then like he smashes a heater and it explodes, kind of like foreshadowing his abilities.
Yeah, they were busting his balls, and then he got pissed off, and the thing in the center of the church exploded when he got mad.
Yeah, so like Ren gets mad because they're busting his chops because his brother has basically got his shit together and he doesn't. Like they're just kind of poking fun at him, and he's like really sensitive, and he gets mad. But whenever he does, this like flash of blue flames erupts from this heater in the middle, and then Father Fujimoto, like you because like they don't really explain anything up until this point, but like it's basically foreshadowing whenever you go back and look at it that he's got powers, and then Father Fujimoto is kind of trying to play it off. And then once you kind of realize that later in the episode, you're like, wait, okay, he obviously knew, but who else knew? Like, did the other people know? Because they all just play it like they had no idea, they didn't see shit, but there was a huge explosion in the middle of the church
with blue flames.
Yeah,
like,
not even
that's not normal.
Not even regular fire, blue fire,
blue
Smurf fire explosion.
Big Smurf.
Yeah, the first time I was watching, I was like, there was a real eyebrow, but I was like, with animes, you can't be sure that something's off or weird because animes are anime, and they're just weird in general. So it's like, is that supposed to mean something?
Yeah, it's like they throw these small hints, and you're like, should I pay attention to that or just blow it off?
Yeah, it's like, are they trying to bait me in, or are they just being weird?
Like the one thing that caught my attention was at the beginning of the episode, of episode 1, with the statue, the eyes were bleeding.
What? This is episode 1?
Episode 1, when they were doing the Exorcist.
Oh, at the very beginning of the episode. Yeah. And I'm assuming they're gonna go back to that scene and explain. All right, go back and explain. It's the opening scene, and the statue's eyes are bleeding. I faintly remember
the one thing that's the one thing that really drew me in is because like, how do you explain a statue crying blood? Like, it's a statue.
Well, we'll get into it in episode 3, but there's like a shape-shifting type of thing. Maybe that'll explain. But I'm going to assume one of two things are going to happen. They're going to go back and kind of dive back into that very first scene, because I think that they're exercising to some degree Rin and Yukio's mom while she's pregnant. So I think that she's giving birth and then Satan's trying to take the babies. So I think they're trying to send Satan back to hell. And in the process, their mother dies. Because there's no mention of their mom. As far as I remember, there's no like explanation as to why she's not around. The only details they give is that she's human, and I think they say that she's dead. But they quickly kind of shift away from mom. Like, he's obviously got no mom issues at this point that's being referenced. I'm sure he has some, but he's definitely got some daddy issues. That's a fact, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. He's got an abundance. He doesn't have room in his brain for mama issues.
Nope.
But all right, so let's see. This first episode was actually packed full of cool stuff. I really liked the first episode.
I really enjoyed episode 1.
Let's see. Rin gets mad, smashes that heater, and then we get to the point where I'm just gonna call them priests, monks, whatever. Rin gets an interview at a local like marketplace, like a like a food line, I guess you would say.
Yeah, like a grocery store.
Yeah, like a produce store, pretty much.
Yeah.
Supermarkets. He goes in, and I thought this was a little weird. Maybe it's just how they do it in Japan or other places. But his interview is basically him doing the job, per se. Like, there's, I guess, a little bit of a vocal interview, but his first day is pretty much his tryouts, I guess. So she gives him the boss of the place is obviously a straight up cunt, and she just likes to give people hard times.
She's a Karen.
She's a total Karen. Japanese Karen to the T, and gives him a bunch of things that he should not be able to complete, and then he does and then completes it. But there's like this montage of him just fucking everything up, and
she's always there and getting hit by everything.
Yeah, she's getting hit by everything. You're seeing it, but then there's like this moment where they're cooking. One of the employees is cooking and handing out little tryout things of food, and like apparently it's disgusting. And then like apparently I don't know where he knows how to cook, so he adds some like basic spices and stuff to it, and then makes it good. And then everyone wants a piece. The boss is impressed. He gets hired. Woo!
Yeah,
he's getting his shit together. Not for long.
So we thought.
Yeah, not for long. So there was this little girl, Yui. Before he went to that interview, he saw Father Fujimoto talking to Yui, and I think it was her mother at the time. I think that scene was the mother and Yui. And it was just kind of odd, but like he basically busts Fujimoto's chops, and like what you do isn't real, kind of pretty much. Like, being an exorcist is not a real thing. There's no such things as demons, etc. Well, after he has this big W getting that job, he runs into that Yui girl at the supermarket, and like I think it was like a scarf or something was floating through the air, something. But he runs into the little girl, and just that was just at the monastery, and then he sees his first demon, and he's basically like, "What the fuck is that?" And then just chases it. Honestly, if that was me, I'm like, "What is that? What is going on? Who's pranking me?"
I'm out of here. Goodbye.
But he chases it through the supermarket, making a mess, gets fired. Big surprise. And then Rin wakes up. Well, I think I'm skipping over a part there. He gets fired, but I remember there was like some kind of dinner they wanted to have in celebration.
Yeah,
But
they were
as
gonna
soon
have
as
like
he
a
got hired, he
special
got
dinner.
fired. Yeah.
And they were waiting for him to get back, and Yukio went looking for him. And he told him that he got fired and didn't want to show up because he was embarrassed. And then he told father. And I think at that point, the father and daughter show up to the monastery.
Yeah. So Yukio finds him, and then whenever they head home, the father and Yui are talking to Father Fujimoto, and they were there because they wanted to thank Ren for what he did, because I think he did catch the scarf or whatever and give it back to her or whatever.
Well, that, and whenever he was trying to go for the scarf, a bunch of boxes because of the demon hit the boxes, and she was standing right under them, and he saved her, like stood over her.
That's right. Yeah. He like saved her from being hurt and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, going forward, the two twins pull up to the monastery, and the little girl and the father wanted to thank him for what he did so that she didn't get hurt. And basically there's like this little falling out of sorts where he's like, she's telling the truth about these demons. I've seen them. Like, why don't you believe her? And then the father of the little girl is just like, you're all crazy. This is stupid. There's no such things as demons. She's got a wild imagination. How
he was trying to like explain what was doing in it, and he's like, I kind of looked like this weird thing, kind of had like a monkey face. And the dad's like, all right, that's it, we're going to the school and blah blah blah. I was like, that was awful explanation of what it looked like.
It was not a good explanation whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
I wonder if we'll ever see her again.
Look like a monkey. I'm sure we will, because how she can see them also.
Yeah. But then I think the next scene is Ren wakes up to see bugs, aka the demons, but no one else sees them, so he starts to freak out.
I think they said that they were fairies.
Yeah,
they're
fairies
attracted to demons.
But since it was like during the day, so like they're the least powerful in sunlight, I believe. But he sees a ton of them. They basically like a bunch of cicada. It's like in time or something. But he's freaking out because he can see them, but no one else can. And then the kids he was fighting at the beginning of this episode, they pop up out of nowhere and start some shit with him. And then we find out that the main person in the trio of those kids is a demon. And I think I wrote down the demon's name. Let's see. Astaroth. And I think that's like a demon from like the Bible or something. I don't know. From mythology of some sort. But at some point they start fighting, and then Ren explodes into that blue flame that we saw whenever that little heater exploded. Astaroth tells Ren he is the son of Satan. Bum, 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 bum. Big little plot twist there. And then Father Fujimoto makes the save, and plot twist, Fujimoto can see the demons as well. And then that ends episode 1. So Father Fujimoto makes the save. It's revealed that he's known the whole time, and he all but confirms that, yep, you are the son of the devil. And also your brother is too.
Yeah. Right. And if you remember whenever that Ren was talking to the guy that was possessed by the demon, those itty bitty like fairy things were like heavily surrounding him. Like
they seemed like a lot like flies and cicadas and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess they did say that they were fairies. But I mean, later on we see goblins and they don't necessarily look like goblins that I would imagine they look like. So they're taking a few liberties with
Yeah.
like fairies and goblins and like the way they look. It's a little confusing to me, but sure as
Yeah.
shit, the Astroth demon looks like a straight up demon. We've got horns and cracked skin, crazy
Spiky
eyes, and
teeth. Yeah.
spiky teeth. And like I did notice that that kid had like spiky teeth or something like early on before the big reveal, and I was like, okay, well maybe whatever. Our main character has long ears, so I'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
But bum, 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 bum. All right, going into episode 2, we got Father Ren. Father and Ren make a run for it, and they're trying to make it back to the church. They introduce something called the Coma Sword. Once unsheathed, Ren's demonic powers will be fully unleashed. So whatever we've been seeing up until this point has just been like a little flash, a little trickle of his like full powers.
Yeah.
So like we haven't seen a damn thing yet, and he's like beat up a demon and blown up stuff and burst into full on blue flames with his body.
And like it's not like he was in the power form like flame when he beat up that demon. Like he just straight punched him and he flew back.
Yeah. He was
like,
not by any means trying to access powers of any sorts. He was just trying to fight.
And it's like, if you can do that just being normal, what the hell can you do as a full demon?
Yeah. I mean, he's literally the spawn of Satan. I find it a little weird that he hasn't been able to see demons from the get-go. Like just being a demon himself. That
kind of felt weird to me that he wasn't able to see demons until he got the scarf.
Yeah. So like they kind of explain in episode 3 how people are able how humans are able to see demons after they get I can't remember the term they use for it, but basically an incident happens to where they come in contact with demons and then they can see demons. But
like they
at the table
or something.
Yeah. They have a specific term for it, but Mephisto, the shapeshifter guy or whatever that will come into episode 3, I believe. He made a comment that these people are humans. Something happens to where they can see demons, but that doesn't really pertain to you because you are a demon. So that made me think like,
yeah,
that's kind of a loophole though, right? Like, why was he not able to see them from the get-go? Unless it was something to do with the sword, where it had trapped all of his powers in the sword. So maybe that suppressed it, but he's only half demon and half human. So
yeah,
maybe that explains it, or that's what we're supposed to assume. But I thought it was worth mentioning because it was a little confusing. But the Coma Sword is introduced, and like the first thing he says is, protect it with your life, even sleep with it, but never unsheath it. What is almost the first thing this Joker does with this sword?
Shink.
He unsheathes
the motherfucker.
You're the son of Satan. You will doom this earth if you unsheathe this sword.
Bet.
Well, I guess I should unsheathe this sword. It only makes sense.
Yup.
So we've got,
like, whenever they're told not to do something, they always do it.
So we've got that character. It's like, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm just glad he's not whiny, because there's so many of these like shows where like the main character I hate, and I always like a secondary character more. Like I know you haven't seen Attack on Titan, but there's the Aaron guy who is the main character in Attack on Titan. for the first 3 seasons, he is such a crybaby. But there's this other guy named Levi, and he is so cool. It's like he's my favorite, and I wish they would just do the series surrounding him. But like, whatever. It's like an anime thing. But before going on a tangent, let's move on. Let's see. Oh, along with the swords, Ren is given a phone with only one number on it. And basically, the father, once they get to the monastery, gives him the sword. They're trying to batten down the hatches. He hands him this phone and said there's only one number on it. He needs to call that person, and he'll be able to help him. Basically, the father and the monks and stuff, they're just going to sacrifice themselves so that he can live. So he gives him this phone and hopes that he'll call it.
Azeroth came back and came towards at the church.
Right. Yeah. This is before he breaks back in, though. Like they're trying to fortify the church or whatever because they know that the demon's coming.
Like bless it to where the demons can't get in.
Right.
And this starts happening at nighttime where all the demons are stronger and heavier.
Which usually that would work, but the demon's no dummy. He steals like a bus or whatever and just drives it through the church to get in. But they basically, they give him that phone with one phone number, and he basically wants him to run, get away, call that number, and that person is supposed to come in and help him out or whatever.
Yeah.
But, we have a numbskull for a main character that doesn't do that. Like 3 seconds later, he's back. Like, I don't even think he actually left. But the Astaroth demon drives through the church like a gangster.
Thug life.
Fujimoto exercises Astaroth eventually. Oh my God. I literally read my notes. Ren is a shithead to Fujimoto. And basically, he breaks his heart to the point, and like we'll find this out a little bit later, but Fujimoto was the only person that could resist Satan as far as him being possessed by a demon. The end all be all Satan, but he's the only person who could resist Satan. So basically, he stayed
pure and holy and stuff like that.
Yeah. He was strong enough to fend off Satan himself, and the only thing that could have happened is if he dropped his life. Basically, he was in this battle forever because Satan's wanting his kids back, right? Especially the one with the powers. So always and forever since the dawn of his birth, he's been in this internal battle, fighting off Satan trying to possess him, so he doesn't come back and get a son. So I thought that was really cool. But in a moment of weakness, Ren pretty much breaks his heart. And it was just enough for Lucifer to get through and possess him.
Yeah, they were arguing, and Ren said, "You're not my dad."
Right.
And Fujimoto slaps him.
Yeah, he's such a dick. Like, I like him better after this, but at that very moment, I was like, what? They just literally laid their lives on the line for you just now, and that's what you got to say? Ungrateful.
Right. Sack of shit. I ought to slap you.
At that point, I was like, oh, someone else is definitely going to be my favorite character. But
right.
I'll admit,
you're not my favorite.
I'm a big fan of Mephisto, the director of the school or whatever. And he's obviously got some fuckery going on in the background. I think in episode 4 or 5, there's I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but he's like, there's like a very cryptic scene. It's like, ooh, something else is going on. Someone's lying.
He's so annoying. I hate his voice.
No.
Yes.
My favorite characters are always the weirdest characters in animes, though. Like my favorite character, have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
Kind of, sort of.
Well, there's this one.
All of it.
Okay. Have you seen One Punch Man?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I'll explain this because it's easier. But it's honestly, it's basically the same character in both shows. Not literally, but it's pretty much, if you put them side by side, they look just about the same, and they're both just as weird in the same ways. But there's this one hero in One Punch Man, and the whole show's about heroes and stuff, and like heroes in different classes, blah blah blah. So there's this hero that is always in prison, and he is super homoerotic. He's always like flexing, like he's really muscular. I think he's bald or has like a little blonde patch on top of his head. But he'll pose and like show his muscles, and then his clothes will explode, and then suddenly he's naked. Like he basically fights crime naked most of the time, and then breaks back into prison because that's where he's comfortable with all the other guys that are in prison there.
Oh
he's
my.
He's got like 100 boyfriends in prison, like, but he's just this super weird homoerotic hero that is just it's so funny, but it's like, for whatever reason, outside of Saitama, the main character, he's my favorite guy in that whole show. Like if they did like a spinoff of just him for one season, I would watch every episode. I might even read the subtitles. But yeah, it's always the weird characters for me that I like, or if they're like really badass. But like,
yeah,
I don't care what anybody says. Like I love Goku, but if I'm watching Dragon Ball Z, if they said pick one character to do a whole show on, like a whole side season on, I'm for sure picking either Future Trunks, but we've had enough of that, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm going to Vegeta. Like he's like the Wolverine for me whenever it comes to Dragon Ball Z. He's like that anti-hero that's come from the darkness and now he's a good guy, but they've casually like layered him up and stuff like that.
I love Vegeta, but my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z is Boo.
Boo?
Not Majin Buu, the fat Boo, or Kid Boo, like the skinny, badass looking Boo.
Wait, which one is it? Which one do you like?
The tall, skinny one.
The bad guy?
Yeah.
You know what is so messed up? I've seen so much Dragon Ball Z, but I never finished the Boo saga. I never got to. Like whenever it was on TV, like Toonami used to do that thing where they wouldn't have a whole season done yet. So at some random point, you would go to watch your new episode of Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, and they would start the whole fucking saga over.
I hated that. I hated that.
Like suddenly you were back to Nappa and Vegeta and Raditz. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Right. Like, come on now. But Boo was like Kid Boo, but adult form and stronger.
I don't know how far I got into the Boo saga. I think I got to the point where there was like an old brown looking Boo. And then it got to the point where it may have been the Boo you're talking about. Someone
Did you say a brown Boo?
Yeah, like an old worm. It looked like earthworm.
That's him.
That's him?
That's him. And then he gets stronger.
Does he have like Benjamin
and
Button
he becomes
disease?
Like this ultimate badass. I have no idea. But like whenever he's standing there, you know those typical bad guy poses where they just stand there and their heads like caught to the side, just looking at you and grinning. And it's like, I'm about to fuck you up. That's his look the whole time. It's like, oh, you're gonna get fucked.
I don't think I'll ever go back and watch it unless they remaster it or something. How does the Boo saga end? Because obviously Big Fat Boo is still around because he's in Super.
Yeah, he becomes like a good guy, which is like, what? Like, you were eating people and turning them into
Hold on.
chocolate.
So instead, because they split off from each other, right? They become different boos, right? Am I wrong?
Yes, I think so.
So how
Boo
do they
is-
destroy the evil boo?
They separated. Like, they became separate people. Like, there was Majin Buu, who was an all-around bad guy, and then he started becoming good, and I guess the bad Buu, like, branched off, like, separated from him, and became his own, like, entity or whatever, or person, or whatever the hell he is. And I think that's where Buu came from. I don't know where Kid Buu came from.
But how do they kill Boo?
They blew him up. They do everything else.
Did they just basically
It's been a hot minute since I've seen it.
Did they just go, oh, now you're powerful enough to destroy them with a blast suddenly? Like with Cell, they could blow his limbs off. Well, Frieza's still fucking alive. But
I don't know how. He got
a planet blew him up. He still survived. They patched him back together like Frankenstein, and then Trunks cuts him in half. And then he dies there. I think he gets cut in half and then is blasted to death. And then later on, his dipshit people collect the Dragon Balls and they wish him back to life. And then the dragon's like, I don't know if you want to do that. It's not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. And they do it anyways. So whenever Shalron brings him back, it's in tiny little chunks of meat and shit. So they put his body into this like little containment thing and then regenerate him back to life somehow. And then he comes back. It's a whole thing.
Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball and Dragons, it's just weird.
The only people that are worse about bringing people back to life than Dragon Ball Z is got to be fucking Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Especially Marvel. If anyone dies, they're truly
so
dead. They'll come back. Time travel, multi-universe. We'll figure it out. They were a robot the whole time. Back. It was an imposter.
Like, come on, like, what are you guys creative. Doing?
Or my favorite is whenever they bring somebody back and they never explain it.
Right,
comic gets canceled or something.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's like
we watched you die.
Yeah, it's like a big wait. How did this happen? They never get around to it, and like the comic gets canceled or something. It's like, but then like they'll just show up later on in a different series or something. It's like, and they just never explain it. It's like, but hold on, pump the brakes.
Stop this.
How was Jean Grey back for the 8th time? Is that Cyclops? Mother, you guys are on the juice. Fuck. Okay. Anyways,
God, it was so bad.
Back to Blue Exorcist. Where is my spot? Basically, Father Fujimoto, he sacrifices himself because Satan is about to drag Rin and Father's body to hell through this little door thingy-majiggy. But Father resists long enough to basically, doesn't he just stab himself in the heart with a cross or something crazy? He sacrifices himself.
I don't know if it's a cross, but I think it's some like magic thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be explained like later on for sure.
It's holy water.
Yeah,
I think it's holy water.
Yeah, it's something.
It's like a thing where it stabs him in the heart and pumps the holy water in.
Yeah, it creates something just long enough, but like even before he does that, Satan even explains that his body can't contain him, that his body's already breaking down. It's been like mere minutes. So we pretty much we can assume that father's gonna die, but what I didn't see coming is father is able to break through just long enough to sacrifice himself and then plunge, I guess, let's just say holy water at this point, into his body to exorcise him back to hell. And then he dies. And then at the very end of the episode, through the rubble, you see Yukio walk through, which at this point, we haven't really seen much of him in this episode. It does have like a small scene as the shit's hitting the fan at the beginning where he's trying to call the monastery, but no one's picking up. So I guess at that point, he's like, I should go check this out because someone should be picking up this phone. But he basically walks up as his dad's dying. So that's nice. But before all of that, I think we did say this, but I just want to reiterate. Rin draws the Coma Sword to destroy the door to hell. But Fujimoto still dies. Basically, his last...
I think it stopped him from his body being taken. Because if you look, they started like sinking down, like they were going through the door, and then he drew the sword and I guess attacked it, and it just stopped everything.
I just want to say, his dad had two, let's just call them dying requests because he knew he was going to die. He had two dying requests that he straight up did the opposite. He said, take this sword, never draw it. And then he said,
call this number.
Take this phone, call this number, and leave. You have to leave. He draws this sword, destroys the door. That's great. It's a door to hell. You know, I'll give him that. But he basically just ignored everything he said. And I think that's going to be the ongoing thing because in episode 4, I want you to pay attention to just the beginning of episode 4 whenever you watch it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But he's basically told to do one thing and just blatantly, I don't even think he realizes he does this, just blatantly does the opposite every time. But yeah, that's the end of episode 2. And then, at the very end of this episode, I think like after the credits or right before it, there's a funeral scene. And then I think officially that introduces Mephisto's character to some degree. I can't remember how far they got into that, but he's pretty much, I think they like threatened to kill Ren or something, right?
Yeah, he was like, I'm giving you this amount of time to get out of here, or we can kill you right now. And he was basically Ren asked him to to show him the way of the Exorcist, and Mephisto basically laughed in his face.
Yeah, I think the quote is like, why would the son of Satan want to become an exorcist? And I think the quote is somewhere along the lines of, I want to kick the shit out of Satan. And then Mephisto's like, that's great. All right, you're in. And he's like,
right.
Well, that was easy. I thought you were going to kill me. That's end of episode 2.
Was I want to kill Satan.
Yeah. Well, I figured at that point that they don't realize truly where his heart lies or, whatever. But I guess him showing the real passion to want to kick the shit out of the devil himself. He's like, okay, I'm weird. You're weird. Let's try this weird shit. Episode 3 opens up with a flashback. And it's kind of going back to earlier events. I think they show a bit of the funeral, but he's basically questioning why Yukio is acting the way he's acting. Like he's not really mourning in any specific way. He doesn't have any questions at all. Like, I don't know if the demon's body or anything like that just disappeared before he walked through the rubbish or whatever. but he really doesn't have any questions. He's not talking to him. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So I think this is on the car ride to the, oh my God, True Cross Academy town. So like they're both being hauled to the True Cross Academy town by Mephisto. It's like in a limousine of some sorts. And he's like questioning himself, like, on my right, I've got Mephisto. And then on my left, I've got my brother who has no idea about all this crazy shit that's going on. Like, he has no idea that there's actual demons. Like, he's under the assumption that his brother doesn't know shit about anything so far.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's also introduced that Mephisto is actually the director of the school at this point, too. Because he's just kind of a mystery character at this point, which with some cryptic scenes in later episodes, he's still a pretty big mystery as far as like where his intentions lie and who he actually is. Is he who he say he is? The introduction to True Cross Academy Town. It's basically this super big mountain that's got just buildings and towers stacked on top of each other. It looks like Hogwarts just on a mountain of its own. It's like kind of secluded. Want to elaborate?
Yeah, it's like all of New York City piled on top of itself. Yeah. All the buildings just piled on top of each other.
Yeah, it's definitely mystic looking. Like it's not.
It's different.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like any of the modern day like buildings that they've been showing thus far. So it's making a point to stand out that the shit's different. You know, there's something else going on here. Like it's definitely not what I was imagining what it was going to look like. Like I just imagined, since all we had saw for the first 3 episodes was like modern day buildings, that maybe we were going to see something a little bit more English based or Christian themes because of all the, implied Christian.
Yeah, like I was expecting mythology. To see like a normal everyday modern college.
Like maybe like the Vatican. Like that's probably a better description of what I was thinking it was going to look like.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's way more Harry Potter looking than what I was thinking, which is cool. It looks super dope, actually.
Oh yeah.
And then plot twists. Whenever, let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, so they go to this school. Basically, I didn't even catch this the first time I watched this episode, but he's going to this True Cross Academy school as like a high school of some sorts, and then he's gonna have cram school, which is gonna be his what are they calling them? Something in training. Is it exorcist in training?
Yeah,
where he's gonna be learning all the crazy demon shits. So Mephisto brings him to cram school. He goes into, like, he hands him this key. It's explained that if he wants to get anywhere within the school, he has to have a key. And then they kind of elaborate on episode 4. We'll talk about that next week.
He said that this key gets into anywhere in the school, meaning like this is a master key. Don't lose it.
Okay, well, this isn't really going to be ruining anything, but it's later exaggerated or elaborated on with Ren, that there are traps set up places where he's not supposed to be. So as long as you have the key to go to certain areas on the big school or whatever, you're good. If you're trying to break in, Mephisto has traps set up everywhere where it'll just demolish you. I guess just murder you or whatever. So like no fucking around. So I'm sure at some point he's gonna get up to some fuckery and get all messed up because he's going somewhere where he's being told not to. But I have not seen that yet. Now I'm on episode 5. But plot twist, he goes into the classroom. He's waiting for the teacher to pull up, and then Yukio walks in and introduces himself as the teacher. My favorite part about this whole scene is that everything's flashing before Ren's eyes, and he's having a straight up shit fit at this point, and Yukio is no selling the shit out of his bitch fit. He's not embarrassed. He's not mad. He's not like, oh my goodness, how did he end up in my class? Like it was probably planned. He's just no selling, stone facing him the whole time. And he's increasingly, Ren is getting madder and madder and madder. He's like, how the fuck is he here? This doesn't make any sense.
When Ren was getting so pissed, I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I was laughing, and I just knew as soon as they brought out that vial. So at the beginning of the class, he makes people raise their hands. How many people can see demons? How many people can't? They have 3 that cannot, and they're going to expose them to the demons so that they could now see the demon realm. And he said, this classroom is here for a reason or something. It's got a high concentration of goblins, which is one of the lowest tiers of demons that you can come in contact with. But if we use this fluid and whatever it was like a vial of blood or something gross.
Yeah,
something that pisses them off.
I think like it. They're like, what's the word? Like attracted to the blood.
Yep. It'll not only attract them, but it riles them up and makes them like batshit crazy, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that room, like they can't escape it. Like in that room, they're in control of the demons.
Yeah, it's sealed with like blessings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I knew as soon as he was explaining that and then brought up that vial, I was like, I know at some point Ren's gonna mess up and he's gonna break that damn vial when he's not supposed to. And then sure enough, during his bitch fit, Yukio gets everyone to go outside of the classroom so that they can talk, and they basically get into a little bit of a skirmish, but Ren knocks off that vial, causing all the... I'm right. It's goblins, right?
I think what they were killing were goblins.
Right, okay. So the goblins burst in, and another twist. Yukio is a total badass. Pulls out these demon bullet gun, handgun things.
He was a straight badass. Like not even looking. Like his behind the over the shoulder behind. Boom! I'm just like, what the fuck?
Like
badass.
Straight up, he's putting Ren in a spot, pretty much telling him that this is all his fault. It's his fault that father's dead, and all at the same time, he's like, bap, 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 and just marking demons
without missing a beat.
Yeah, without missing a beat.
Like killing the demons while scolding his brother at the same time. Like, how much of a badass can you be in one moment?
I guess it served its purpose, though, because I think at that point, Yukio was not going to talk about it to his brother. Like, he knew he was probably going to have to at some point, but he was basically just keeping it all inside. And at some point, Ren was going to just blow up anyways and get it out of him. So we got that out of the way. They make up. And then it turns out that at the end of this episode, Ren is going to his dorm, and he's basically got a whole little building to himself because he is so potentially dangerous, being the son of Satan, that he could just accidentally murder a bunch of people in his sleep or something.
Probably murder half the school.
Yeah, like without even realizing it. But turns out Yukio has bended some rules and set it up to where he's going to be roommating with Ren, which is basically to keep an eye on him and keep him on his shit so that he stays on his studies and all this and that. So he's basically playing a glorified babysitter while going to school himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that phrase, I am my brother's keeper, which in this point he is being his keeper to like keep him in check.
See, I really do like the way they wrote the brother relationship, because it wasn't something you've seen a million times. It wasn't this one's good, this one's bad, this one hates this one, and the other one is fighting for the affection, like, or the approval. It's so much deeper than that. That even like in the flashbacks when they were little kids, like whenever he's like putting a band-aid on Ren whenever they're little kids, and he's like, so you want to be a doctor one day, and then you could tell Yukio's just waiting for him to like bash him about it, and then Ren's like, I think that's the coolest thing ever, you can totally be a doctor. It was like that
you
huge
can see
support.
the love. You can see the love and support between these two, while in other animes it's like, I hate you, go away.
Like there's no bigger rival in animes usually than brothers, like 100%,
all the time.
So the way they wrote this was good.
Big twist.
Yeah,
change of pace.
I love how there was, even though that they're both technically the spawns of Satan, that they've like, they're so much more human than demon, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I don't think Yukio is technically demon.
He's not. I think Father said that Yukio didn't get any, while Ren got like all of it.
Yeah.
Even though he's half demon, half human, he got all of the demon side.
Yeah, I do think it was a little shitty that during their little fight at the end of the episode, he basically just straight up told him, yeah, everyone knew. You were literally the only one who didn't know about everything. Like he knew from birth, because he's the reason, Ren's the reason that Yukio was exposed and was able to see demons from birth, was because of that. And then it pretty much said that, they didn't say this, but it insinuated that Yukio was kind of a crybaby for like the first 7 years. So that's when Father Fujimoto insisted, hey, why don't you train to be an exorcist? Like to give him a way to combat against all these demons that he's constantly seeing.
Yeah, he like basically took him under his wing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let me help you and everything will get better. And which in the long run it did.
Yeah. Oh, for sure did. He's a complete badass. So like instead of being a coward, he's like he plays like the coy, coward, shy type, I guess, to like around normal people, but when it comes down to it, he's a complete master at this thing. And he was, like Mephisto says, that he is the youngest ever exorcist in like the history of exorcists there. He's like a master. He's teaching a class for himself, like the beginners. Like he's a straight up killer when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah, certified G.
Any ending thoughts? Anything you want to see happen in the next few episodes? Like, how do you want to see this progress?
I'm honestly hoping that Ren and Yukio just work together, not like separate. Yeah, like go to like separate areas. Like I hope they stick together through this whole thing.
Yeah, I hope they stick together, which I do believe that they will.
I wonder at some point they'll split up at some point, but not for long.
Well, since the series is so short, and I don't know if that's by design or just that's just how it rolled out or whatever, but I wonder if you'll ever see them where they're graduated, or if that's going to be just a perpetual thing that they're in school for the whole series. But I do hope that we see like major growth. Like, hope they really dive into the mythology. And I'm going to just assume, since it is so short, that they do end up killing Satan at the end of this series. And then the spinoff is like their attempt of, branching out. on everything afterwards.
Yeah, like trying to do their own thing.
Yeah. Like, cool, we killed Dad. What's next?
Right. Let's go find other demons and just slay them.
Well, we'll say this. It's going to be more expansive than the first 3 episodes show, because the next 2 episodes, there's like a cryptic scene with Mephisto that I talked about earlier, where it leaves you with, ooh, what is going on here? So, I believe it's going to be a lot bigger than what we're seeing so far, for sure.
One thing I hope for is like character development. Like they don't limit them.
Right.
But other than that, I'm thoroughly enjoying this anime.
Well, what needs to happen next in the next couple episodes, which it does dive into, I'm happy to say, is the expansion of these secondary characters. Because those are the characters that really give a show longevity, and it helps me not get bored quick. So to have good secondary characters is key.
They're like a support system.
Right. And not only a support system, but they have like little tiny trees of storylines. They get explained along the way. And like usually those are the best parts about animes.
Yes.
Or any show, really.
Like backstories in general on any character, to me, is a very important, vital part of any show.
Right. So I think next week we'll let's just stick to 3 episodes, unless they do the thing that like animes have like filler episodes, then we can like blast through that if it's just literally just not important whatsoever. Like Dragon Ball Z has weird off the wall filler episodes that don't make any sense and have
any sense.
Literally no ties to the main storyline besides it's just fun.
Right. Just like out of nowhere, oh well, Krillin's doing it. Who cares? Who cares what Krillin's doing? Like, he's gonna die anyways. So,
dude, okay. Let's do questionable style choices for animes later on. I'm gonna go with Vegeta mustache. I think it was GT, so I guess it doesn't technically count to most people, but I'm pretty sure he has a mustache in GT. And I'm so on the fence on if I love it or hate it. Like, it's not really pedophile-y looking. It's more like Smokey and the Bandit kind of mustache. So it's kind of cool, but I want to hate it.
Vegeta reminds me of that uncle you don't want to come to the barbecues because you're scared of what he's going to say.
Yeah.
With the mustache.
Yep.
It's like, do we want to invite this uncle? We didn't invite him to the last one. So.
He's definitely the uncle I would have thrown a roll at and then hid.
Yep. Yep.
Who was that?
Just play it off like
saying Prince. All right. Any closing thoughts? I'm guessing we're gonna do 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Cool. So next week we'll drop a review of episode 4, 5, and 6. I've seen 4 and 5, and they're bangers. So I like them. They're good. I have not seen 6, and it was really, really hard for me not to like go past, because originally we were going to do just 1 through 5. So once I got to 5, I was like, ooh, I really want to watch 6 and lie about it and say I didn't. But there would be no way that I could go that long without talking about it. So
yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.